more information on concurrent enrollment. We are also now offering Compass Preparatory Academic Lab Tutoring. For those who are looking at taking the Compass test or who have taken the Compass test and want to improve their scores, you can give us a call to learn more about the free tutoring that we offer at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. We have a house full this morning in the studio, so what I'm going to do is go around the table and let my guests introduce themselves and give us what their title is at the college. So I'll start off with you.
I'm Holly Johnson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Hawkeye Community College Foundation.
And I'm Jenny Hoover, and I am the Scholarship Coordinator of the Foundation at Hawkeye Community College.
And I'm Holly Otto, and I am the Outreach Advisor for Hawkeye Community College for the Financial Aid Office.
Fantastic. Thank you all for being here this morning. I was surprised that the snow started already because I heard it wasn't supposed to start until around noon. So good thing we're here early. Listeners, you'll get a chance to hear some great information here, and hopefully you'll take advantage of it. So first of all, I want to talk about the Hawkeye Community College Foundation. Can you give us an overview of the foundation?
The Hawkeye Community College Foundation was established to support the college in the efforts of our administration, our faculty, and to support our students through scholarships and program support. So that's what we work for throughout the year. Right now we're coming up on our scholarship awarding deadlines here in a little bit, and Jenny will talk a little bit more about that, but scholarships is one of the ways that we support students. So throughout the year there are different deadlines, and there are a number of different scholarships that are supported by either individual donors or through groups of donors who give to those specific funds.
Fantastic. Did you have anything for that? As far as like what some of the scholarships maybe cover or entail?
Sure. We award over 300 scholarships throughout the academic year to Hawkeye credit students. We have a variety of scholarships that pertain to specific majors, criminal justice, health science, arts and science, and others. We also have specific scholarships for minority students, non-traditional students, single parents, veterans, and students with disabilities are among some of those. We would like to feature 3 of our scholarships that we offer to students at Hawkeye. The first one is the Sammy and Eunice Dell Scholarship. This scholarship is for minority students who are taking any type of credit classes at Hawkeye. This scholarship was developed in honor of Sammy and Eunice Dell. Sammy was an educator and leader and volunteer in our community, and he was also a Hawkeye Community College employee for more than 20 years. So that is a scholarship that our donors like to support based on just his employment at Hawkeye, and then the community members who knew Sammy and his wife Eunice. The other scholarship we offer is the Mary Thoreau Scholarship. Mary was a big part in the community here at Hawkeye and at the MLK Center. Her scholarship is also for, her scholarship is for any students who are taking classes at the MLK Center. So we like to promote that one to those students who are interested in classes, not just out at Hawkeye's main campus, but at the MLK Center as well. And then the other scholarship we would like to talk about is the Multicultural Student Leadership Scholarship. That scholarship is given to African Americans or Latino students who are registered for 6 or more credits at Hawkeye, no particular major. We do like that those students are active participants in the Multicultural Student Organization. So those are just a few of the scholarships that we offer to our students at Hawkeye.
That's fantastic. That's a good segue into something I always like to mention each show. Hawkeye Community College has a way of assessing community needs and providing programming to actually meet those needs, whether it be referral sources or building those programs from scratch. And I think it's the same with the scholarship funds. It sounds like you have a scholarship to kind of meet every student, would you agree?
That is true.
Part of the beauty of those programs is a lot of times our donors come to us and they tell us what they would like, or the types of students that they would like to support in their educational endeavors. So we're able to work with donors to come up with a scholarship fund that specifically meets what they're hoping to accomplish with their scholarship fund. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Now, how does the foundation work in conjunction with the financial aid office?
So how that works is I actually work really close with Jenny. Every time a student is awarded a scholarship, she actually forwards them down to me, and then I will get them applied to the student's account. So we work really close to make sure that we promote the deadlines for the scholarships, like March 1st for the fall scholarship is right around the corner. So students, are going to be taking classes here in the fall. They need to get that online application complete so we know what they can qualify for.
Now, when a student is looking for funding, do they have to fill out multiple applications, or is it kind of a one application type setup?
We just have one application that Hawkeye students apply for, and like Holly said, that is done online. That one application could qualify you for any of the scholarships that you meet the criteria for. So we kind of do the back end of matching up the students to the appropriate scholarships. And that online application, we have a direct link. It would be www.hawkeyecollege.edu/go/scholarships. And that'll get you right to the scholarships page and give all the details associated with scholarship application deadlines and registration deadlines. That scholarship application deadline is March 1st. No exceptions. So March 1st is that deadline. And students must be registered for classes by May 1st. If their program doesn't allow them to be registered by the May 1st deadline, they just need to notify the foundation office so we can flag their scholarship. And then we can be reached also at 319-296-4002.
Great. And then for students that may need some type of emergency assistance, are there funds available for something along those lines?
There are. We have generous donors and supporters within the community that recognize that the path to education just doesn't consist of tuition assistance. Many of our donors elect to give to what we call emergency funds. There are a number of them at the college or through the foundation. And with those, we refer our students to the Student Affairs office, and they work with our Student Affairs professionals to assess their needs and to find a path that is right to meet their financial needs. So what we don't want to do is we don't want a barrier of financial need to stop a student from reaching their educational goals.
That's great. And then I know at one point there was some type of funding for students that maybe needed, I believe it was like child care, transportation capital assistance. Is that still in existence?
We do have some grant funds that provide those. Again, we work through Student Affairs to find the fund that best meets the need of the students. So they work with our Student Affairs, our counselors and Student Affairs who are wonderful. They sit down and they talk through everything and get to the funding that the student would need to be able to continue to attend classes. So both transportation and child care, we help with those types of things.
That's great. And then there are some components known as short-term training programs like the Nurse Aid, for instance. Are there funds available through the college for support for students that are going through like maybe the short-term version of welding or Nurse Aid or some of those types of programs?
Any student that's going through like a shorter term program, it really just depends on the actual program because some are not financially eligible and some are. So sometimes it does take a student that could reevaluate exactly what they really want to go into and what job they want after they leave Hawkeye, and then they could get into a financial aid eligible program. So some of those shorter term programs there isn't federal aid for. So what we recommend is if that's the true program that they want, is they go out and they search outside scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they have a chance to earn some additional money through an outsider or private source rather than through the federal government, which doesn't allow funds to be dispersed for those.
Okay. And then, can you give us some more detail as far as the types of funding or services that you offer, again, in case we have listeners just tuning in?
Sure. The foundation provides opportunities for individuals in the community to make gifts to the college to support student academic achievement, to support their attendance at the college through different programs. And then also, we provide the opportunity for students to apply for scholarships through the college, through the private funding sources that the foundation receives. So we try to match up students applying for scholarships as well as the donors who are giving us those funds to make sure that we're accomplishing what the donors had hoped and what the students need.
Great. And then, if you have a donor out there that might be listening right now, they want to find out how to donate and what the process is, what would you advise them?
Absolutely. We'd love to talk to anybody who's interested in supporting Hawkeye students. Our phone number is 319-296-4002, and my email address is holly.johnson@hawkeyecollege.edu. Either of those avenues, you'll get to somebody who can help you to evaluate what you'd like to support, the types of students that you'd like to support, and we'll find a way to make that happen.
That's great. So, in case we have listeners just tuning in, we have a great show running this morning. We're talking about the types of support available for students and potential students at Hawkeye Community College through both the foundation and the financial aid office. And so we have a full house with us here in the studio this morning, and I guess we'll go through again some of the information some of you may have missed. And with that, let's again talk about the foundation.
The foundation is the private support arm of Hawkeye Community College. We are actually located in Hawkeye Center, right on the main campus out on Orange Road. We work closely with all the different departments and academic areas, as well as the student support services, to identify needs within each area, and then also to provide support from private gifts, donations, grants, and other private sources of funds. So that's what we do through the foundation office, but we work closely with financial aid to identify avenues to disperse those monies, as well as through student affairs and different programs.
And then you mentioned earlier you have several types of scholarships available, and some are actually named after some community members and leaders and former employees of Hawkeye. Did you want to go through those again?
Sure. Yeah, we do. We have, like I mentioned before, the Sammy and Eunice Dell Scholarship. Sammy was an employee at Hawkeye for more than 20 years. He was sought after as a mentor, I guess, for our students. He was very passionate about Hawkeye and Hawkeye students. Actually, his wife at the time of his death developed this scholarship, and then she in turn, once she became deceased, it became the Sammy and Eunice Dell Scholarship. They both were very active in the community and with Hawkeye students, and actually Eunice with UNI. That's where she was employed at. So they've just, they're very passionate about Hawkeye, and they wanted to make sure that they supported Hawkeye students. So that's where the Sammy and Eunice Dell Scholarship comes in. That supports minority students who are taking college credit classes at Hawkeye Community College in any program. I do believe you have to be registered full-time, if not at least part-time, so 6 or more credits at Hawkeye to receive those scholarships. We also have the Mary Thoreau Scholarship. This one is very important to those students who are taking classes at the MLK Center. This scholarship provides assistance to those students, not only who are taking classes through Hawkeye's main campus, but like I said, one of the requirements for the Mary Thoreau Scholarship is that you are taking a class at the MLK Center. So this scholarship helps any of those students. So if you are one of those students and you're looking for some assistance, please submit a scholarship application online, and that would be at Hawkeye's website. It would be hawkeyecollege.edu/go/scholarships, And you just have one application to fill out, and it could qualify you for any of the scholarships that you meet the criteria for. And along with that scholarship, we also have the Multicultural Student Leadership Scholarship. This is for African American and Latino students who are active in the multicultural student organizations on campus. It's for students who are taking at least 6 credits at Hawkeye, any major, GPA of 2.0 or higher, and just we're looking for those students who are active, on campus. So those are just a few, and then along, with all those, we offer more than 300 scholarships an academic year for our students. So there are plenty of opportunities for you, and we do offer some scholarships for specific programs, and some of those programs don't have as many applicants on file. So it's really important, even if you think that you're not going to qualify for any scholarships, to get that application on file, because you could be surprised. There's some opportunities out there for all of our students, and we look to try to help those students when we can.
Our scholarships range in amount from $250 to fees paid in full. Our scholarships usually range between $500 and $1,000, but there are some that are even more than that $1,000 range. So they're very, very helpful when you look at a student's overall cost of attendance. Those scholarships can put a big dent in what a student has to come up with as far as the funds. So.
And then do you have any other scholarships that maybe a lot of people haven't heard a lot about, like you mentioned, program specific even that you wanted to mention?
Part of what we're really excited about is our opportunity to have an impact on programs through people who have experienced or know someone who has experienced either success in their career or some personal, have gotten through some things personally, and donors can establish any scholarship for any program. So dependent on who has been impacted and has felt that pull to give back, we hope that more people do as time goes on, or as people want to honor someone either in the community from their family, or even someone who during their education had a big impact, whether it was an instructor or a professor or a former employer or something like that. So the types of scholarships that we offer really depend on where the money's coming in from. So our donors can help to direct some of those funds. While we can't give them to a specific individual, we can get to the type of student that they'd like to have an impact on. We do have some scholarships that are specific to either need or academic achievement, so it's not just exclusive to how high a person's grade point average is, but it can be about their specific situation.
What does it take to establish a scholarship? So for instance, you might have a donor that's interested in, for instance, like if I had, big, huge bucks, I would probably want to establish a scholarship for students that are going into the digital mass media program at Hawkeye, because that's like one of my passions. What do you think?
Well, and that's funny that you say if I had big, massive bucks, because there's actually 2 different types of scholarships. There's a scholarship fund that's endowed, and that's where somebody would give us a set amount of money, and then we would spend the interest and earnings off of that on an annual basis. So those are the ones that tend to fluctuate from year to year because it's based on what's going on in the market. But we also have what's called an annually funded scholarship, and those can be anywhere from $250 on up. So if we have a donor who would like to come in and send, or that would like to send in $250 annually and name a scholarship, they can do that if they so choose. And so it's really not a very cumbersome process to do this. It's a matter of walking through the steps with someone from the foundation office, and by simply contacting us either through our phone number at 319-296-4002 or emailing us at holly.johnson@hawkeyecollege.edu, you'll be able to get additional information on that. The other place that you can find us is online. If you go to hawkeyecollege.edu, again, that's www.hawkeyecollege.edu, you can find the foundation under support students. So all of those will get you to the foundation's webpage, and there are links to contact us. So We work with our donors both on the amount that they would like to give, as well as establishing their scholarship criteria. So we walk you through everything in a step-by-step process. We try not to make it super cumbersome, because we want you to feel good about giving and not make it something that's difficult to do.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned $250, is it like the minimum?
Yeah, we try to make sure that those scholarships are going to have an impact on the student's cost of attendance, but also make sure that the donor feels good. The other thing that we can also do is work with a group of people. So if there is a group of people that would like to get together and fund a scholarship, because if one person can't front that $250, but if you had 5 people at $50 a piece and you wanted to bring that all together, we can work those things out too. So yeah, there's plenty of ways to give. We don't want people to see it as a difficult process, but we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students and that our donors can see their impact.
That is fantastic. And then from the financial aid office, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
My biggest thing is that they're big sticklers on the deadline, so if you want those scholarships and you're going to be taking classes here in the fall, you need to get your application in by March 1st. We always direct people up to your guys' office and to the webpage whenever they're looking for additional funds, so that's the best way and the easiest place to start because it's right there, right at Hawkeye. And there's so many different scholarships that are available to students that you just never know what you could qualify for. So.
That's fantastic. Now, I do want to bring up something since we're talking about financial aid and scholarships. When a student, sometimes we've seen in the past, students might receive enough funding to get all of their classes and everything covered, and then they get a big refund check. What would you advise a student do, especially if it's the most money they've ever had in their hands at any one time in their life? What would you give them as far as advice?
What we tell them in the financial aid office is you need to evaluate if you actually need those funds or not. And you need to seriously think about what is a need and what's a want. Do you need to pay for rent? Or do you need new jeans? What is your actual need versus what's your actual wants? And you don't have to accept all of that money. You can, rather than taking out all of that loan money that you've been eligible for, return some of it back. You don't have to keep it. It's a very simple process to return loan money, so you don't have to pay it back later. As far as scholarships go, we can't award based on, or over-award past their cost of attendance. So those free monies and things, they can still get and keep, and that's fine, because they're not going to have to pay it back. As long as they're not taking any loans on top of that to give them that excess money, that's kind of where it gets tricky for the student.
Because eventually with those loans, they will have to pay them back, right?
With interest.
Yes.
Yes.
And I wanted to bring that up because, sometimes we see a situation where we have, classrooms filled to capacity, refund checks come out, and next thing you know, you lose, a large percentage of your class. And then we've seen those students years later come back and realize how important education really is. And when I get into school and it's like, all this money, the student loan money, I need help, and it's kind of a bad situation, you can still, work it out, but it's not easy.
And just in my working in higher education for a number of years, that's one of the things that students who take out loans and don't realize what the payback process is, and then if they don't persist through to graduation and they end up with unpaid loans, that becomes another barrier to their attending college because you have to be current on your student loan debt before you can re-enroll.
Yes.
It takes a long time to recover from missed payments. So student loan default is something that we work really hard on here at Hawkeye's campus to prevent. And default just means that they haven't paid on their loans for nearly a year. And so the government says, you're just not eligible for any more money. And it takes then again 9 months, so almost another year, to rehabilitate those loans per the government standards. So it presents a lot of very large hurdles for a student if they're not going to take care of what they first set up in the first place.
Definitely. Well, we're coming up on the last minute of the show, so I want to First of all, thank you all for being my guests this morning. And I want to give you each a chance to share any additional information with the listeners to know. So with that, I'll start with you, Holly.
Sure. Thank you for having me today. As far as the foundation's involvement with supportive students, if anybody has any interest in making a gift to Hawkeye Community College, please contact us at the foundation at 319-296-4002. We will work with you in any way that you would like us to.
And Julie?
All right, and I'll just talk about those deadlines one more time. Scholarship application on file by March 1st, and then must be registered for classes by May 1st. You know, even if you think you will not qualify, it's always good to have it on file. We keep your application on file as long as you're attending classes at Hawkeye. So you do not have to reapply unless something has changed with your, you know, personal statement. Maybe you've done more activities at Hawkeye or volunteer or stuff like that. So that one application will stay on file as long as you're at Hawkeye.
Fantastic. And Holly?
We just also want to stress those deadlines because they do take them very seriously. And for the financial aid office, it's really important that if you are filing for financial aid this year, that you file the right FAFSA. Since we're working in 2 years right now, you could either fill out the 2013 or the 2014 FAFSA. It will default on the webpage to fill out the 2014. But if you're going to be taking classes here this spring or this summer, it's very important that you file the 2013 with your 2012 tax information. So just be cautious when you are filing for your financial aid this year, because we are working in 2 separate years. And if you do need any help or want to sit down and do it one-on-one with someone, just come on over to Hawkeye, the financial aid office. We're more than happy to help. Or give us a call at 319-296-4020.
Fantastic. And before we sign off, I do want to mention that the KBBG Midwinter Fundraiser is coming up, starting on Friday, February 21st through Sunday, February 23rd. So please call 319-234-1441, or you can donate online at www.kbbgfm.org. Again, that's www.kbbgfm.org. Well, again, ladies, I thank you for being guests this morning. You shared some great information, and hopefully we'll have you on again. And hopefully, listeners, you'll take advantage of this information. And if you have any further questions or forget any of the other numbers, you can call us at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center at 319-296-4440, and we can get you routed to the correct person. And until next time, stay warm, and you have been listening to Opening Doors. Thank you. Did a great job.
Put me on the spot a couple times, Lauren. I was like,
I thought I was gonna go into